We have a model of a baler. This is a mini baler that makes little decorative bales like this. You feed the straw in through this hopper on top. And then the plunger comes down and smashes the straw in. And the top one pokes it down. Just kind of keep feeding the straw in. And once we get to about this level, there's a little hash mark on here, we put in a board. It goes in just about like that so it misses this plunger. And then we fix that, it goes down in there, catches the bottom, the plunger pushes it in. And that's your separator board for your next bale. So you've got a separator board here. See where I tied it? Then there's a separator board. Then here's the next bale. And then the next separator board is behind there. That's one that we just put in there. Now we got to put a little bit more straw in, a few more plunges worth of straw. And I'll stack it in there, push it through. You can see how it just keeps coming out inch by inch. Certainly not a fast process. So you can kind of see the board is starting to poke its way out right here. It'll show up here momentarily as the straw builds up on this back side. Then the board will come out, and that'll be one bale from right here to right there. And then as we put more straw in, it'll plunge it out. And then I've got to grab my wire here and tie a bale by hand. All of them are done by hand. So for people who think this is a fast and easy process, making these small bales, unless you have a big commercial baler that does them fast, it's a tedious process. We'll probably be selling these at the end of our driveway for $5 a piece this fall. I don't know how many of them we honestly can make, because you can see it's an inch by inch process. At the end of the day, the bale is probably about a foot long, something like that. But it should work out pretty good. So we're kind of ready to tie our bale, so we're going to take a bit of wire here. And I'll grab my trusty pliers out of here, and we'll snip it. I just kind of guess at what the snipping process is here. We'll just kind of cut it there and call it good. And what we do is we poke it through. We got a helper on the other side to pull it, and on this side stretch the wire and we straighten it out like that. And we got to find a hole there in there's kind of a notch cut into the separator board, and we just poke it through. Just patience here. I'm going to just get the end out here nice and straight, and then it'll go through. And then we pull it through tight on one side, and then we get another length of wire for the second piece. And you always want to make sure you got enough wire, because if you don't have enough, you got to start all over and you wasted the first wire. So it looks like there's a little waste on this, but it's actually a pretty good process. If you've done a few bales, you kind of know what to do. So we feed this one through, and we straighten this wire out. Yeah. Like that, and then you pull it through from the other side. Gotta try to get it nice and straight like that. Then we grab our pliers and we come to the other side, and we're gonna tie this thing, and we're gonna just try to cinch it up the best that we can. You gotta do it by hand, so nothing's gonna be perfect here, but we're gonna wait until it plunges in with a little bit of straw in it, and that way we get a nice tight cinch. Once the plunge comes in, it tightens up the bale like that. And then we just pull it through. It's patient here. And then we'll We tie it by hand, and we'll tighten it a few cinches, and then I usually flip it off, throw away the waste, and then so I don't slash my wrist, I turn it in and push it into the bale, so that way when someone gets the bale they won't slash their wrist. Now we're going to do the next one, where we're going to do another, we're going to add a little bit of straw in the plunger, so when the plunger comes in, it's going to cinch it up for us a little bit. Once it plunges like that, we're going to tighten it nice and tight with about 5 or 6 turns of wire. The wire's about $25 at running, so not necessarily cheap, but you got to have it to make the baler work. And then we're going to turn that in, and we're going to push it in like that. Then what we're going to do, we're going to get into our straw pile, and the two of us can kind of keep it rolling here. Just keep feeding it one at a time, one plunge down. When the plunge goes up, the next one. And then we have a little mark on here, so when this board gets to this mark, we know to put another separator board in, and then we'll make another bale. And by that time, this bale on this end will be making its way out, and it'll push itself out at the end, and the separator board will also push its way out too. So that is the process of the baler itself. And then if you take a look at the mechanism, there's an electric motor on there. It probably should have a gas engine with a pulley on this shaft and a belt, but you know, we're just trying to keep it simple here. So it's just got a motor with a little switch on it here, turn it on and off. The gears gear down the mechanism, got a little torque on the plunger. You can see that this is how the plunger works. And this pulley is on somewhat, you know, the belt is on somewhat loose, but I guess if someone got your hand in there, you wouldn't want it cut off. So we're trying to do our best to keep our fingers away from all of this, all these moving parts and whatnot. You know, just don't be dumb about it, I guess. It's not OSHA approved. OSHA's never going to come out to this farm anyway, so we're going to do our best to be safe and careful, of course. So that is the mini baler, and the next bale will be coming out here shortly on the end and get pushed out. We're going to put a block in to make the separation for the next one. We'll let this straw go in, and then we're going to let it plunge a couple times so it keeps pushing through. And then now that that's plunged, we're going to put the block down. And all that does is it flips up. This notch grabs the board, pushes it down, it shoves it into the chamber, the plunger pushes it, and it pushes through to the next bale. And that's the process and how it works. We'll just keep going. If we're lucky,